I got to a very hopeless spot.
It would just come crashing down, and it would just be like terrible.
We couldn't do anything right as a
We
family.
were both in each other's faces just yelling.
I felt like I was living in hell.
It kind of felt like a roller coaster at times. Beth was going to church. She was being changed, and I was going to church, but I wasn't having a whole lot of heart change.
Going to church, he was all in. God spoke to him in the message. We'd go home, he'd have all these great ideas, and then it would be an hour later, and he'd want us to hold up to these ideas, but he was completely not engaged anymore.
Our middle son, Gage, he would call me out on not living out what I'm saying. So him and I would clash a lot. We got into shouting matches where we were both in each other's faces just yelling. Beth and I couldn't talk to each other without arguing and yelling at each other. As we went to this counselor, the counselor decided that we should separate. And I was thinking that it would be for like two weeks maybe, and it ended up being 7 months.
I went to work the one morning, and the lady that I worked with, I was explaining to her like things that I was thinking through, and she kept telling me, God is your ultimate authority. So if he tells you to do something, you do it. And so that morning I just felt God just speak, not audible, but speak to my heart that I needed to go. I needed to go and talk to Andy.
She came over. It did not start out well. We started arguing, of course, right away. But she said, Andy, I don't care. I don't care if you ever want to go to church again. I don't care if you don't want to have anything to do with God. I just want you to know that I love you and I want to be with you. And there was something at that moment that changed inside of me. Like it was kind of like a switch, experiencing God's grace in my life. And then finally, by experiencing that grace, I was able to extend grace. That's when I felt like this can work. We got into a study with 2 or 3 other couples.
And it just gave a lot of opportunity for Andy and I to get honest and humble just between him and I. Andy and I were looking for a way that we could bring our family together, because now we've gained so much healing just going through that study, and didn't know how we could bring that about through our whole family as a whole. So a friend of ours says, hey, now's the perfect time to come to family camp. And so we both thought maybe this would be a good thing for our family.
We packed everybody up in the car. It was an 8-hour trip in a small vehicle. And it wasn't, with kids and stuff, that's kind of rough.
Not all of us wanted to go. Gage, who is our middle son, he really was hesitant because he was always waiting for the high to come crashing down, and he didn't know if it was going to stick, because it always is like that. It was like a roller coaster. So he wasn't sure if he wanted to come, but we talked him into coming, and he came. And it was an awful trip getting there. I actually told Andy, I said, just go in, check us in, because we're a hot mess. They don't need to know we're coming in like a hot mess.
The first thing that happened was I went in to sign in, and a guy came out, and he just asked whether he could pray for our family.
Andy comes out with a guy, and I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's coming out with a guy? He says, can I pray for you? And I'm like, oh man. So we got out, we prayed, and it was phenomenal.
We could just feel the cares of the world drop off of our shoulders as he prayed for us.
The whole week just changed the way we did life together. We were doing life separately. This was a time that we came together. We had time to really focus on each other, learn about each other. It seems so simple, but for us it wasn't. We learned a lot about family.
He really used the teachings and especially the activities at camp to really start to take down some of the walls that we each had built up over the years. And we're all pretty competitive, so we wanted to win the games. So it forced us to have to work together, and that started to help tear down some of the walls. One of the games that Gage played, he was so excited to tell me about the game, the friends that he had made. Like from that point on, it just seemed like him and I's relationship started to change. So it really started to tear down some of those walls and help to build back up healthy relationships. Since God did this work in our family, our family is healthy now. We are thriving now. We are willing to step out and do whatever God may ask us to do.
Well, I am certainly grateful that God restored and redeemed and continues to change our family. Thankful for the camp because they taught us how to do family